What I've got here in front of me is a big blue stem plant. And if you're not familiar with big blue stem, all of this is a single plant. And these plants are made up of an individual tiller. And sometimes I realize folks don't necessarily know what a tiller is, but this individual stem, if you will, of the grass is what we refer to as a tiller. And so this individual plant here is made up of, I didn't count them, but probably in the neighborhood of 100 or maybe even 125 individual tillers. And by the way, those tillers are telling me that this is a healthy, vigorous plant. If I had a much smaller plant with just say 5 or 10 tillers, that would tell me that it was not as vigorous. So the other thing we want to talk about with this blue stem then on the grazing management is grazing height. So this particular clump here is approximately 15 inches tall. And that is actually a very good height to maintain big blue stem at. Now the reason we want to maintain that height is here I've got, let me get that out of the way. So I've got an individual tiller here. And so that's about 9 and I don't know, maybe 13, 14 inches tall. But what I really want you to see is two things. First of all, down here, this bottom 6 inches, there is no leaf surface area. That means there's no forage. That also means that this plant, if it were to have been grazed down to that height, would not be able to produce additional growth because it can't photosynthesize because it doesn't have a leaf area. So by leaving this on there at about this height, this plant can continue to grow, continue to make carbohydrates, store them in the roots, provide leaf surface area. So for instance, here's a young leaf that's just coming out, some more fresh leaf tissue that's just growing out that provides excellent forage for cattle. So again, the real key to managing these tall growing grasses like big blue stem or Indian grass is to maintain enough canopy height that you maintain lots of leaf surface area and the plant can continue to grow and continue to produce forage. Here I've got a big blue stem plant that is maybe 9 inches tall, so a little bit shorter than what I showed you in the other pasture, but it has a lot less leaf surface area and so the plant's going to be less vigorous. Right next to it is some big blue stem that's about, oh, I don't know, 5 inches tall. And if I come out here, I've got big blue stem that's been grazed down to 2 or 3 inches. What I want to stress here is that there's very little leaf surface area here. This plant is being weakened by this kind of grazing. Now one nice thing about big blue stem and other natives is we can graze it down that close and it's still perfectly capable of recovering. The problem is when we keep it at that height for an extended period of time. So for instance, today it's June 8th. If this grass was to be kept this short for many more weeks, this plant would definitely begin to weaken. So what we need to do at this point is allow this grass to rest and recover. But the reason I wanted to show you this is to show you what not to do when grazing native grasses. The 13 to 15 inches, good. This, kind of marginal. This is where we're starting to want to turn around. That, bad news. We do not want lots of that. And of course, one of the problems with that, I mentioned the weakened plant, but we also open up all the space in the stand which can very easily become overtaken by weeds in subsequent days and weeks and months and years, which will provide further competition to weaken these grasses more. So it's kind of a vicious downward cycle. So again, the important thing with managing a native grass pasture is maintain appropriate canopy height to maintain appropriate stand and plant vigor.